Good afternoon and welcome to the Montfort School. This, of course, is the Montfort Primary and Montfort Secondary, actually. And the area that we are currently in is where we've got the exciting National School Games, not Zone Badminton Championships that are going to kick off in just a little bit. Remember, this is the primary section that we're looking at. My name is Glenn Mascarenas and I'm here to take you through today's proceedings. Now, let's not forget there's a very key element to keep in mind when we are talking about most of what's happening on court. Let's look at the two teams. And the two teams that will take on each other for the third and fourth position is the Singapore Chinese Primary Girls' School. And as far as the other or the opponents are concerned, well, this is a school that really has put in a lot of effort and they've come in a long way. We're talking about Nan Chiau. So it's Nan Chiau Primary School taking on Singapore Chinese Girls Primary School. I will run you through, their route to the event and how they actually got here. But for now, we're going to start off with the first singles of the day. And that, of course, is going to be a very interesting one. We do have our first contestants coming up. So we've just got started with the action, and it's Nan Chiau who claimed the first point. For Nan Chiau, it's Karen Chua, who is representing Nan Chiau. And on the other side, of course, for Singapore Chinese girls, it's Chan Yi Chong. Jade. So it's Jade Chan on the other side. And currently it is Jade who leads by 3 points to 1. So it's been a good start as far as, Singapore Chinese Girls School is concerned. I did have a chance yesterday to actually watch the senior team play, and it was quite fascinating. It was fascinating because I was watching them play Bowen Secondary, and the amount of smashes that I saw, they cleaned up the competition. It was almost like doing a quick brunch or brunch on the go. And it's very interesting to see now how they fare when they play St. Nicholas Girls Senior School. So that was an interesting game, but back to the action here. So this is the primary section of the Singapore Chinese Girls School. Also very, very efficient and I'd say very professional in their approach towards the game. So in the first game, it is Jade Chan who leads Karen Chua by 7 points to 2. There's a change of serve as Karen wins the serve and she goes up against Jade. Lovely lift there from Jade, trying to knock that back, but just getting that a bit wide. So Karen will hold on to serve. Well, one of the key things you do have to remember when it comes to younger players is their ability to rise and smash or to, get the birdie to angle downwards will always tend to be a bit more difficult, and that's due to the height advantage that the senior girls would have. You'll see the birdie flighted a lot more, treated more gently. I mean, if you were the birdie, you'd be happy. So, unable to knock that back. Karen just got caught off in position, and that's just giving the serve back to Jade. Well, it's not too much of a margin between the girls right now, about 3 points, which is still healthy enough for a start. A mega height difference between the two. Jade tending to be the taller of the two competitors on the court, while Karen a bit more petite, but she's a quick girl, likes to likes to position that, and that's an exceptional point. Well, actually went to the right of Jade to make sure that she pulled in the points. Being able to play to your strengths, it's so important, and that's the interval as Singapore Chinese girls will take that 11-point lead through Jade Chan into the interval as Karen Chua, well, is close behind, 3 points behind on 8, and she represents Nan Chiau Primary School. Let's tell you about how these teams got to this position in the semi-finals. It was Nan Chiau who fell to St. Nicholas Girls Primary School and lost by a narrow margin, 3-2. As far as Singapore Chinese Girls Primary School is concerned, they lost to Rosyth School by 3-2 as well. It was quite a close encounter. So these two teams fairly matched, if you ask me. A lovely move there. I just couldn't make that point of contact, Jade, but lovely shot from Karen Chua. And she's closing in on the points. That is so important. As I said, she's a sprightly little girl. She has got the ability to fight back. She does have to swing the racket a lot more, but then that also gives her just an added advantage. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, going cross-court for that. Karen Chua, well, just making sure that she's closing in on the points. Lovely gameplay from the Nan Chiau youngster. Well, this time, Jade just making sure that she's got that angle right. Put it right in front of Karen. And she leads now by 3 points. Given Singapore Chinese girls the lead. Remember, we're looking at a best of 3 here as far as the games are concerned. With the, well, older children, it would go to a best of 5. The points are normally, well, quite hefty if you ask me. You're looking at 21 points. Not like in table tennis where you've got 11, it's a lot more easier. It can be very trying, a lot more stamina required in badminton. A quicker reflexes in table tennis, that'll be the difference. And that sailed out. So young Karen is catching up as well as she can. I couldn't get that on the backhand. So Karen will hold on to her serve. Well, just powering it up as much as she can. A good return of serve from Karen, but Jade just using that tad bit of aggression that was needed, and that's what will keep you ahead of the competition. I'm sure she's very well aware of that. Well, so unique to watch a player who really has to swing that shot in, and, well, actually it's a craft. If you've got the height disadvantage and you're really trying to, you know, knock the ball back in, it's such a craft to be able to get that birdie across the net. So a bit detrimental here as far as young Karen is concerned. It's now game point for Jade. Or so 20-15 is what it stands at. And that's pretty much game for Jade as she wins 21-15. So 21-15 the final score, and Singapore Chinese girls will cap off the first win of the day. That's the first game, with Jade getting the better of Karen Chua. So a few words of advice coming in from the coaches, and that's such an important element of this entire game. Now, don't forget, these youngsters, young minds, need to be molded perfectly, and imbibing or instilling discipline into them is such an important part of the game for their holistic development. So here's young Jade now to serve. Karen at the receiving end. Remember, it's always the athlete who wins the previous game who will go on to serve in the next. So leading by 1 point now. Well, that reach factor can be just a tad bit difficult for young Karen. I did mention this earlier, but she has got skills. She's probably got to watch out for any unforced errors from her opponent. That will keep her, well, up and running. Oh, lovely placement there. And almost does it for her. Was looking at going cross court to baffle the opponent. A few times she's got that right, a few times it's been, well, wide. So here it is, 4 points now to Jade, who continues to pile in the points. She's got a 4-point lead over young Karen. Well, both these schools have such a strong, well, infrastructure and I would say setup when it comes to sports, and to really believe very strongly in that. Well, aided by the net, and she won't complain. So she's got the serve back again. Karen Chua for Nan Chiau. And Jade still continues to lead. Just had a few worries there with that backhand reaching back. She's got to be at a comfortable distance to return the serve or to, employ the shots that are within her arsenal. And that's just talking about young Karen. Just a tad bit easier for Jade to reach the birdie. And it is very important at this tender age, as you go on and these hard-working youngsters, well, get into, later years, 12, into their teens. There's an entirely different approach to the game. So just keeping that ball keeping that birdie within the line, it's very good play from Jade. She's racing towards that interval with a comfortable lead. Lovely placement from Karen. Just struggled a bit in this game, and that's one area actually towards her right. Could be her Achilles heel. She's just had a few worries trying to get the birdie back in, and there it is, the first in the interval. It's 11-4. Jade certainly staying on course. She could finish off this game if she wins it, and she could win the match, give Singapore Chinese the first start. So the coaches talking to their respective students will have words of advice, as is always required, and we shall know, of course, in just a little bit what those words of advice are. You can see it transformed into action on the court. So while the action is brewing here as far as singles is concerned between Nan Chiau and Singapore Chinese, we've also got the boys event happening on a neighboring court. So young Karen wins the serve and the ability, well, to fight back for this cause. She needs to keep running in. A decent placement. Well, was always going to be extremely difficult for Karen to get to that. Was very clearly visible, but nicely done. Jade using the placement option. Wanted to tap that down, and just needed a bit more lift on that. I think the coach was trying to get that across to her. Needed to open the face of the racket just a little bit more. And this time, Karen just using the advantage of the net, staying as close to it as possible with the return. And Jade, unfortunately, just dragging that one wide, so it puts Karen up to 8 points.
Service over. 13-8. Service over.
And lovely return from Karen to win the serve back again after losing it for just a little bit. Gives the birdie a good bit of flight, and that of course was a powered shot coming in from Jade. You could hear the thump in that. That really tells you how stern the shot was.
15-9.
One thing you would notice is just the playing style that these two players possess. You could very well foresee them going on to play in secondary, and there'll be a couple more meetings for sure at different stages of their learning. A lovely drop there coming in from Jade.
17-9.
And you can expect to see these youngsters a lot more. Excellent playing styles, if you ask me. So while we get on with the singles, there's also a doubles event that's happening right next to or on the next court, and that too is between Nan Chiau Primary and Singapore Chinese girls, because we've got a good amount of courts here at the Chu Hua Sung Foundation Sports Hall, the home of Team Montfort. And excellent facilities. I absolutely love them. Got a great basketball court as well. So it's now Jade to serve at 18 points. She's 6 ahead of young Karen. And it's back to Karen. That's changed over a couple of times, so serving at 19 points. Will she get to match point? Well, she was aiming for it, just popping that lightly over the net with the serve. And that's pretty much match point for her. Well, can Jade finish it, or will young Karen stall her? She's got no intentions of letting her finish it. Bit unfortunate there, but she's put on a good show, Karen Chua, and it's Jade Chan who will claim it after winning it 21-15, 21-13 in 2 straight games. So Singapore Chinese, a girls' school primary, will win their first event of the day. Remember, we've got 3 singles and 2 doubles to go, and while we talk, the doubles, of course, kicking off simultaneously on the neighboring court. So wonderful performance here by Jade Chan as Singapore claim their first event. We'll get on to the next bit now, which of course is our next singles event.
to play. Wait for my announcement. Ladies and gentlemen,
So we're pretty much on to our next singles event. And this, of course, is the second singles of the day, while the first doubles has kicked off on the next court. It's Sharain Ong of Nan Chiau, and Fong Chin Mun is representing Singapore Chinese Girls' School Primary, and she will serve. Sharain at the other end. Bit of a role reversal here. Well, this time around it's a Nan Chiau girl who's just got the height advantage. And Sharain is also the vice captain of Nan Chiau. Oh, very interestingly, both the girls are actually vice captains. Fong Chin Mun is the vice captain of Singapore. Of Singapore Chinese Girls' School Primary. So the captain is Fong Chin Mun, the vice captain, and Sharain Ong is the vice captain of Nan Chiau. So interesting. Sharain just keeping that serve low, a very smart move. Doesn't want to tempt or draw her opponent into an aggressive shot. Got a decent enough lead to start off with. Well, an attempt just to return that back. Fong Chin Mun just struggling a bit there. Sharain, very orthodox style of play and service. It's almost like a classic style that you're looking at. And what's interesting, of course, is with the Singapore Chinese Girls' School, they too have a very unique style of play. It tends to be quite quick at times, fairly more aggressive. They rely heavily on speed, at least the senior girls. All looking to get that down, couldn't entirely get in control of taking that shot. A bit difficult there for Sharain. So now it's Chin Mun who's really trying to pull in the points. So 8 points in the bag for Sharain Ong. She leads by 5 points over her opponent. And that's exactly what I was talking about. Two characteristic styles of play. Fong Chin Mun has got a unique style of play. Not very classic in her approach. But it's very close to what you see a lot of the Chinese players adopting. And Sharain just staying with a more orthodox style. And just, this goes a long way in how the players will grow and develop. And, get their own unique style, their own unique shots. So moving up to 6 points, she's closing in now, Fong Chin Mun. And that's what's interesting, every time that you do have a fight on hands, and it doesn't turn out to be just another, walk in the park for one opponent. Keeping an eye on that, and she's pretty much got it within the line, so well done by Sharain. Lovely serve and placement. Well, heading towards the interval. Not very soon. I do stand corrected. So 7 points here for young Fong Chin Mun, and she's definitely going to stretch this. So that's the interval. It's Nan Chiau Primary who lead this time in this game. 11 points to 7. The coaches, of course, will have a word with their youngsters Did happen to talk to both these girls earlier along with their teachers, and what's unique about this age, and I absolutely love this part, is that they enjoy the game. There's not that much of pressure. There's not that much of intensity. They absolutely love the game. And when I talk about the game, I'm talking about the play aspect of it. As you get more technical and you get on in years, the competition increases, the pressure increases. But at this stage, when you're starting off, it's all about the passion for play. So absolutely delightful to know that, and to watch that in action. Top shot there from Jade. Making that null and void was Fong Chin Man, so she's one serve back again. Oh, that's terrific placement. Absolutely in control of that. Nice return from Shireen, but couldn't get it round this time, so we are at 10-11. And that's a fine finish. Well, going in for the placement, she's done it absolutely well. Oh, that's the second time around consecutively. Well, she knows that area is going to be tough to reach for young Fong Chin Man towards her right. And sometimes it's all about supporting just those weak spots that the opponent might have, and capitalizing on that. Don't play to their strengths, you play to their weakness. That's when you're talking about the opponent. So important, and so important to get it within the line. Well, she's been able to get most things right here, except with that serve. So it's now over to young Fong Chin Man, who will serve at 11 points. Oh, beautiful return from the Singapore Chinese Gold School representative. And this time it is Shireen who'll win that battle. Lovely rally. That's the first really good one I've seen since these two schools went up against each other.
17-11.
Well, one key element that I did forget to mention in all of this is that Nan Chiau and Singapore Chinese Girls Primary School have faced off before in the preliminary rounds, and it was Nan Chiau who defeated Singapore Chinese Girls Primary School 3-2. So it will be interesting to see, what happens here today. It's the second time they're meeting in this contest this year, and interesting to see what the results will be. So it's proving to be a fairly tough fight between the girls on court. And Shireen, knows that she's, still in the lead, but she's got a very formidable adversary. Oh, lovely finish. Well, just the right amount required for that smash. Not too much of power, but getting the angle right, and that's so important. So we have game point. Can Shireen keep her cool for this one? Absolutely love that serve. It's a serve that I used to watch, so many of the old players who used to have it in the past. And, including, that's pretty much the first game for Nan Chiau, as their vice captain Shireen Ong wins it 21-15. And it's Fong Chin Man who will have to fight back to stay in this contest when she comes back in the next game. So as we change sides, I was just talking about that classic serve that, players like So into for the second game.
Service over.
And I did mention earlier how, well, it was, well, not really a one-sided victory, but young Fong Chin-man putting on such a big fight. She's got the ability to fight back, and this time it's Shireen who'll win the serve back. And she leads 2 points to 1 for Nan Chiau Primary. As I mentioned earlier, both youngsters are vice captains for their respective teams. So 3-all now. Fong Chin-man with the serve. Will hand it back to Shireen. And still holding on. Well, just likes to use that gentle serve. Just dip it over the net. And characteristic style that Shireen has. But this time it's Fong Chin-man who'll power that down. And just to claim it back, she's, well, just a point behind her opponent. Just looking at the placement aspect. And such an amazing bit when you are pretty much at this, stage of your growth in the sport. You tend to use a lot more placement than actual smashes, and as you grow older, then it, well, just changes and you start using that smash, well, weapon so many times more. So this is really the part where you get groomed into, touch and placement. So it's really neck and neck in this game. And that's exactly what I mean. Now 7-all. Fong Chin-man to serve. Lovely placement there. And don't get that too often with a lift from the open face of the racket. Absolutely well done. Well, couldn't get entirely behind that. Just being fooled by the point of contact. So it's 8-all now. A nice return from Shireen. And that'll work well for her. Oh, well placed, absolutely well placed by Shireen Ong. She knew she'd make her opponent just sweat it out all that more in the effort to reach. And that's the interval. It's 11-8 with Shireen Ong of Nan Chiau for the second time around taking her lead into the interval. A few words of advice there for the young girls from both their respective coaches. So we get into resuming where we left off, and that of course is, this is the second game with Shireen Ong of Nan Chiau leading 11-8 over her opponent Fong Chin-man. Oh, lovely lift there from the Singapore Chinese girl, but it hasn't really worked in her favor. The umpire just confirming the points. Well, the birdie did land within the line, so absolutely no question there that the points would go to Shireen. Oh, beautiful placement, absolutely beautiful placement. Just went pretty much across the net. I won't even say cross court. And she loves playing those shots which are closer to the net, Shireen. Sometimes it can be a bit of an undoing because when she's going in for, well, those huge shots, she wants to add a bit of power. can be, and that's what I mean. So much more of a touch artist actually. While Yang Fongchen-man, well, she does rely on not just touch and placement, but has a fairly aggressive shot. Do not be fooled by her humble size.
Service over. 14.
So now it's 14, a change of birdie. And Shireen with the serve. Oh, lovely finish. Absolutely lovely finish. How do you answer that move? Fong Chin-man, confident shot. She's done that a couple of times in this game, actually. A very good point for Shireen to read into. Nice drop shot. And nice finish.
15.
Just directing that birdie. A spot that you couldn't reply to. And it's all about putting up questions which your opponent can't answer, and that's what Shireen's doing right now. We're almost getting ready for a good rally, but it's now 17-11. Shireen of Nan Chiau with the serve.
18.
And she's keeping the control of it. Lovely touch there. It's those shots that as you develop the time, they become so important in the game or in the sport. The touch factor, especially when the action is aggressive, but the touch is gentle. One of the greatest forms of deception in badminton. So she's at match point right now. Shireen Ong, as I said, it's vice captain against vice captain. And she's not giving up. Fong Chin-man. She says, I'm here in it. Well, just a few unforced errors, and that's what happens when you're at match point. It's so important to finish it clean. And it's now a couple of points on the trot for Fong Chin-man as she's fighting back. 14 points. Let's turn that around to 15. Closing in. Would she want to get to a tiebreaker? Or can Shireen Ong finish this? Oh, what a lovely rally. Absolutely wonderful rally and delightful play from Fong Chin-man. Using, well, the drop shot to good effect. And that's pretty much it. Huge sigh of relief here for Shireen Ong as she claims this game and levels Nan Chiau now with Singapore Chinese Girls' School. She's won this 21-15, 21-16. So very good finish. And we've got a contest on hand. We also will give you the results of what's happening in the doubles arena, where Cadence Wong and Charlotte Zhou of Nan Chiau are facing Sarah Nyan, who's the captain of Singapore Chinese Girls' School, and her teammate Elizabeth Chow. So we will get to that bit in just a little bit to give you the results of that. But for the time being, it is 1-1 as far as the singles are concerned. So while we progress with the action right here at the Montfort, well, secondary school, I must keep you in the loop about what's happening as far as the other games are concerned. And this is fairly interesting, because Singapore Chinese Girls School will have won their doubles encounter over Nan Chiau, which means that they currently lead in 2 events to 1. We do start off with our third and final singles event between Nan Chiau and Singapore Chinese Girls, and we shall of course tell you about what's happening in the doubles as well in just a little bit. So do stay with us. The action continues right here at the Montfort Secondary School, and just in case you did want to know our exact location, we are the Chu Hua Sung Foundation Sports Hall. So interesting turn of events, if you ask me, as to how we've seen, well, things pan out. It's Janessa Kwek, who is representing Nan Chiau. She is the captain of the team. We did see her able assistant win the previous game, so it's very unique to find out what Janessa does. I did get a chance to talk to her earlier. She's a left-hander, absolutely does love this game. She's had a few worries starting off today with the young lady from Singapore Chinese Girls School actually giving her, well, just a bit of a shake in the start. And it's Huang Yuan, who is representing Singapore Chinese.
6-4.
So fairly close event now. 3 points behind is the young lady from Singapore Chinese. It was Janessa Kwek, the captain of Nan Chiau, who started on the back foot, but she's come back fairly strong. And using that left hand to good effect. Both players actually left-handed, which is quite unique. Yeah, Huang Yuan is also a left-hander. You don't see too many left-handers really dominate the singles. Some of them, yes, but it's in the doubles that they become such amazing weapons. The reach that a left-handed and a right-handed player have is so phenomenal, especially when it comes to that forehand being needed, the ability to return backhand shots. Oh, it's wonderful. A lovely play there. Absolutely marvelous play from Huang Yuan. Beautifully done. She wins the serve back. And this has been very unique. You toss the birdie up a bit too much, and that's where Janessa has been able to capitalize on the shot. So she leads by 11 points to 7 in the third and final singles event between the two schools. Let's not forget that we're going to have a second doubles matchup, which will kick off in just a little bit. So it's all happening right here at the Montfort.
Play.
It's all happening right here at the Montfort Primary or Montfort Secondary School. This is, of course, the Chu Hua Sung Foundation Sports Hall. So currently, as we see it, it's certainly going to be a fairly strong enough finish if young Janessa Kwek can hold on to that lead. Here's Huang Yuan, with the serve for Singapore Chinese Girls School. A quick movement from both sides of the net. That's very interesting. So fighting back as hard as she can, Huang Yuan of Singapore Chinese Girls. Now the placement game will get you everywhere. She's got a decent touch, Janessa Kwek. It's the reason why she would be the captain of the team. Now leads by 16-10. A lovely finish. Well, just wanted to get it done and dusted with, and that's exactly what she's done. So currently as it stands, it's 11 points now to the young lady from Singapore Chinese Girls. Let's make that 12 as she steps back to fight. I did mention this earlier that both teams have met each other in the preliminary rounds, and that's where, well, Singapore Chinese Girls School fell to Nan Chiau 3-2. It might be a different turn of events in today's, well, contest. Let's not forget what's important. Here is the third and fourth place finish that the ladies are fighting for. We do have the final event in the North Zone Senior Division Boys and Girls, and that kicks off in just a little bit after this event gets over, and that'll be fought out by Rosyth School and St. Nicholas Girls School. So at game point right now, it's Janessa Kwek of Nan Chiau, but with the serve, it's Huang Yuan of Singapore Chinese Girls. So that's game. Claiming the first game, the captain at 21-13, Janessa Kwek. And left to be seen if she can, well, finish it off in straight games, or will she be surprised by Huang Yuan of Singapore Chinese Girls School. Left to be seen when we resume right here in the second game. So into the second game. As I said, it's been quite a delight to watch two left-handers battle it out right before our eyes. Well, packs in a good bit of a punch on that move, Janessa Kwek. And it's a shot that she favors a lot. The smash can foresee her in future years actually being able to knock the birdie as hard as possible. Remember Carolina Marin and the speed at which she can get the shuttlecock to travel, it's just an ultimate shocker. It's like a whip and a snap in, well, talking in hundreds of kilometers. So it's an absolute shocker when you talk about how fast the birdie can travel. And many of the young athletes have also got the ability to make it travel really fast. Beautiful placement game there from Janessa Kwek. She now leads 4-2. Just making her opponent, well, move about the court as much as she can, but that's a superb finish this time around from Huang Yuan. Lovely reply to claim the serve back. And we are getting into, well, that part of the game where, remember, it's key to find out what really will transpire as far as, well, the third and fourth place position is concerned. It's very important, both teams really wearing their school colors on their sleeve. As it stands, it's 7-4 or 7-5 now, with Huang Yuan serving for Singapore Chinese Girls School Primary. This is really a crucial event that we are looking at. And so important to see who can finish it. Oh, lovely shot. Totally controlled that rally, Huang Yuan. So, leading by 9 points this time, but not for too long, as Janessa Kwek will claim it back and claim the serve as well. So it's now 9-all. As we get into, well, higher ground as far as the contest is concerned between the two youngsters. Oh, really looking for the finish there, Huang Yuan. And lovely touch, absolutely lovely touch from Janessa Kwek. Well, decent return from her as well. And she does get it into the line of play. Well done by Huang Yuan. So it's now 10-all. And here it is, taking that lead into the interval. It is, for the second time, Janessa Kwek. Just that slight edge over her opponent, Huang Yuan. Do stay with us to find out what transpires in this game, and we shall give you the results of the entire doubles matchups too, to figure out who has finished off in third and who will finish off in fourth position.
11-10, play.
So we've resumed play, and it's an interesting turn of events. As I said, things can change whenever teams go up against each other. We've had two doubles encounters that have been played out. And we shall give you the results of those as well, because that's so important to finding out who has finished off with, well, the win for this crucial third and fourth position. So leading by 17-11. That's where we currently are at. And claiming it back again, it's Huang Yuan, who's now at 12 points, 5 behind her opponent. So just to keep you informed, the game that was played between Cadence Wong and Charlotte Zhuo, representing Nan Chiau, and Sarah Nyan and Elizabeth Chan, representing Singapore Chinese Girls School. It was the Singapore Chinese Girls School that pulled off that win. Then, of course, the singles won by Shireen Ong over Hong Chin Mun. And here it is, match point now for Janessa Kwek. Well, stress that. Wants the finish, and she's got it. Absolutely. Speedy. No need to wait for too much. The captain leads here. Janessa Kwek just finishing that. So she does win 21-14, 21-12. So, two singles won by two singles have been won by Nan Chiau Primary. So very quickly, let's recap this for you. Out of the 5 events that were played here, Nan Chiau Primary, of course, did win 2 of the singles events, but it's a Singapore Chinese girls' school primary that won 2 doubles events, and of course, a singles event. Their captain, Sarah Nyan, was also involved in the doubles match. So they finish off with a win of 3-2, and that's very, very ironical because in the prelims, in the preliminary stage, it was Singapore Chinese girls' primary school that fell 3-2 to Nan Chiau. So it's an entirely different turn of events this time around. It just goes to show what preparation can do. More power to them as they finish in 3rd position, and Nan Chiau Primary finish off in 4th position. It's been a wonderful event. Both teams and their youngsters putting up such a spirited performance. So I'm Glenn Mascarenas signing off for right now, but I'll be back again with the final event, and that will be when St. Nicholas Girls' School take on Rosyth School in just a while from now. Do stay with us, or do come back later and join us right here at the Chu Hua Sung Foundation Sports Hall in Montford Secondary School. Let's remind you once again that this is the National School Games, not Zone Badminton Championships. Signing off for now. Catch you again.